Hi, my name is Lily and in this video I'm going to be doing the Moody Reader Tag. So this was created by Brittany from Slanted Spines. I will link their original video down in the description below. Nobody has tagged me in this as far as I'm aware, but I just felt like giving it a go. So I won't be tagging anyone else at the end, but if you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. So the first question is, do you consider yourself a mood reader? And yes, I do, absolutely. I have to be in the mood for whatever I want to read. It might be that I need a bit of help narrowing down books, but I will kind of know if I'm in the mood for a romance or a fantasy. I do use my TBR game occasionally, but if I'm in a really strong mood to read something, I will just read it. The second question is, do you ever set TBR lists and do you stick to them? I only ever set specific TBRs for when I'm doing readathons, and I try to stick to them because I tend to put books that I am really excited about reading in those TBRs, but often I will drift away from them. I'm doing a readathon this month and I can guarantee that I have already gone off the TBR. The next question is, do books affect you emotionally and have the moods of books ever rubbed off on you while reading? This is really hard for me to say. I'm not very in touch with my emotions as an autistic person, so I find it really hard to know whether it's the book that's influenced it, but I would guess they probably do. I don't really remember ever like properly crying at books, but when there's like a dramatic character death, it'll definitely get to me. And yeah, when a book goes my way, I definitely feel happier, so probably to some extent. The next question is, when you're feeling sad, what do you read, if you do read when you're sad? I think it depends on the level of sad. Sometimes when I'm really sad, I don't like to read at all. I often find it easier to read audiobooks when I'm sad because it's lower energy for me. I think if I'm going through like a depression patch, then I tend to lean more towards things like romance and middle grades because they're easier reading for me. I don't tend to read fantasy as much when I'm having a rough patch. I think I tend to stick more towards light and fluffy when I'm sad. I know some people like to read like kill your darling stuff to like wallow in the sadness, but I like to have the opposite and have like happy things when I'm sad. So yeah, I think generally that's what I stick to. The next question is, do you most often use reading to escape, to learn, or to critically read? For me, it's definitely an escape, I guess, or it's probably a mixture of all of them, but to be honest with you, like the main thing I do is I read because I enjoy it. I'm not really aiming to get anything particular out of reading when I read most of the time. I think it just is something that I find relaxing and enjoyable, similar to how like people like to watch TV just because they like to watch TV. For me, reading is that. And yeah, I do sometimes read to learn. I do tend to prefer learning through podcasts and TV shows and films because that is like something that I find more accessible. So it probably is more of an escapism, but I do sometimes use it to learn as well. Like as a kid, I definitely used reading to learn how to fit in with neurotypical people. So it's definitely a mixture for me, but I would say there's no real purpose to my reading. I just read because I enjoy it. Number 6 is, what is a book that made you laugh out loud? And I think the most recent one for me is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and I can't tell you why because it would be spoilers, but that book has a lot of laughs in it and I really enjoyed it. Like I was reading while my boyfriend was playing video games and he kept turning around because he heard me laughing. So yeah, that's the most recent one for me. The next question is, what is a book that has made you cry? And if you don't cry, a book that has really moved you? And like I said, I don't think I've ever had a book make me actually cry. A book that has moved me, I have two that jump into my mind immediately. The first one is Orbiting Jupiter. I believe that's Gary D. Schmidt, I could be wrong. And that's a really, really short book. It's kind of middle grade, kind of young adult, sits in between them. And it's a contemporary and it's about a boy who is in the foster system, who is being fostered by this family. And he's very young, but he has a child of his own. And it's about that kind of relationship, and it is honestly heartbreaking. That one really moved me. And another one was when there was a certain character death in The Knife of Never Letting Go. That really got me. I won't say what it was in case you are reading it, but if you read it, you'll know which one really got to me. The next question is, what is a book that you don't really know what you felt about? That's really hard. I generally have an opinion on my books. Like, I generally finish a book and I'm like, yes, I like this, no, I didn't like it, or... So I'm trying to think if I have had any where I've just been kind of like, huh, when I finish. And honestly, I don't think I do. I tend to know roughly what rating I want to give books. I I use the Corpal spreadsheet for the stats, but I don't actually often run things through Corpal itself. I tend to just instinctively know my ratings. So I think this one is not really applicable to me. The next question is, are you more likely to read on a sunny day or a cloudy day? I guess in the summer it would be sunny days because then I'm more inclined to sit and read maybe outside, or because it's hot, and then I will be reading because there's nothing else to do because it's too hot to do anything else. But the rest of the year I don't think the weather really affects whether or not I'm reading. I just kind of read when I feel like it. I tend to read in the mornings at the weekends when my boyfriend's still sleeping or before bed, so those times of the day don't really impact whether or not I'm reading. The next question is, do you do anything to set the mood before reading? And I don't know if it's setting the mood per se, but I do like to play some kind of music because I like to use music to drown out everything else going on in the background because I'm so sensitive to sound. At the moment I use lo-fi girls beats to sleep and relax to read because they're very, very mellow. They don't kind of grab my attention very much, they're just really relaxing. So kind of, I guess I probably would do candles and stuff if I could, but I have a cat that's far too curious, so I can't do any of that. Yeah, I think if it's the mornings or the weekends when I read, then I do like to play like a nice relaxing morning playlist. I might put the Crackling Fire thing on YouTube, and I'll open the windows so I can hear the birds and have the breeze. So yeah, I think I do, but I don't do it consciously. I think I just do it because I like it, and it's not one of those ones where I'm like, oh, I've got to set the mood. And the final question is, are you able to jump between books or do you need some buffer time between them? Honestly, I like to just jump in between books. I tend to want to read the next book because I'm really keen to read. I sometimes have a little bit of a break, but most of the time that's just because I'm tired or whatever. It's not usually because I'm getting like a book hangover. Usually I just like to read the next one because I've got so many books on my TBR that I need to get through and so many that I'm really excited to read. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to see more content from me. If you want to leave me a comment to let me know you're here, leave me a little plant emoji in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. Bye!